This is the Patriots Drive Podcast.
We are all Patriots.
Where we discuss, analyze, and answer questions to all things happening in the NFL and with our New England Patriots. Now, here's your host, Cole Kelly.
Let's go!
Welcome into another edition of the Patriots Drive Podcast. Patriots take on the Atlanta Falcons on Thursday Night Football, 8:20 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow night. Should be a game we expect to win based on how this team's playing. This is, if you want to be a playoff team, these are the games you got to win. You got to go handle your business, and this is one we need to take home, and then 10 days off, and then we face a Titans team that's one of the hotter teams in the NFL right now. So, game we got to win. Should be interesting. They got a couple really talented players on their team. Matt Ryan's still playing solid football. He's still a talented quarterback, and Kyle Pitts is just an absolute freak. He's living up to his draft stock so far. So it's going to be a good one. Going to be a fun one to watch. But I'm here with my co-host, Chase Campbell. How's it going, Chase?
It's going good. It's weird to be doing this episode with a game tomorrow because usually, but it's fun. I'm excited to watch him play on primetime on Thursday night. Is Thursday night still considered primetime? I feel like it's always boring games on Thursday, which I hope is what it is tomorrow. Yeah, but still.
I agree. That's a lot of the Thursday night games. They're not as exciting as, more the actual prime time is more like Sunday Night Football, even maybe Monday night. But the only real prime time game I really think of as prime time is Sunday Night Football because it's, those are always the ones that everybody's watching in America. So that's the ones I pay the most attention to. But Pat Scout, we're doing good. How you doing?
Yeah, for sure. No, I this is one of those games, and you mentioned it, where you're expected to win, and you're a 7-point favorite on the road, Thursday Night Football. You're coming off of a massive win in the AFC where you just destroyed a team who made the AFC Championship, or who was close to making the AFC Championship game last year. Probably
Chiefs backup saved them.
Exactly, right? And they looked good to start off the year. They probably should have beat Kansas City early this year, and now Kansas City hasn't looked good as of late, except for last week. But you're talking about a team that is still a very, very competent team in the Browns, and we handled them, and now you're coming into a game, and you hope it's not a trap game, but I have confidence that Bill is going to have these guys ready to play, and this is a young, hungry group. Mack Jones seems like he's not too big for the moment, and he's not going to overlook this stuff, and we still have guys on the roster that are going to know, hey, this is as tough of a game as it gets. A short week, flying to Atlanta, you got to be ready for anything. So I'm excited to watch him play.
Yeah, this is kind of we were talking about it last week a little bit schedule-wise. You got to get through this game. You get through this game. We haven't had a bye yet, but you get through this game. You got 10 days off. Then you go into a stretch where you get a tough team in Tennessee, Buffalo, and then your bye week. So this is really probably the last tough stretch rest-wise where Thursday night games are always tough, but they've been playing. This is the 11th football game they're about to be playing on in 3 days rest. It's not great. It's not ideal, but if you can make it through this game, just get through this game healthy. It doesn't have to be flashy. It doesn't have to be too special. Just get the win, go home, get your rest, 10 days rest, and start preparing for a tough Tennessee team. So that's kind of how I look at this game. You got to win it if you want to be considered one of the top teams in the NFL, and that's how a lot of the world is kind of talking about the Patriots right now. You go on sports media, and all these people are talking about, are they contenders, this and that. And the way this team's looking right now, it looks like they could be if they keep playing this way, but you really never know. The defense is playing really well. We haven't really seen them against some of the top teams. We've seen some playoff caliber teams that they've put up some really good performances against, but it's also, you never know in the NFL what a team's going to be. And we've kind of been lucky, I guess you would say, injury wise. Some of the teams we've been playing have been missing some decent players, and it's going to be interesting. This is going to be a game that you got to win. And then after that, this next stretch is going to be prove it to America, prove it to your teammates, prove it to everybody in the world that this is a real deal team, and they're a team that should be able to make the playoffs and make our little run here. So it's exciting. This is not how we were talking about this team 4 weeks ago. 2-6, now to 6-4. Been on a great run. The team's building confidence. You can see it. They're building chemistry in the locker room. Everybody's excited. Everybody's having fun playing in Foxborough, even though it's the Patriots and nobody can ever have any fun and it's miserable to play for, but it should be fun to watch.
Yeah, I'm excited. A lot of national praise for the Patriots. Finally, people talking about them being back and them being one of the scariest teams to play in the AFC. And I don't see why not. Our defense right now is allowing teams right under 18 points per game. That's second in the league. Atlanta's is only scoring 19.8 points per game. So right under 20, that's 25th in the league. This is going to be a game where our defense can definitely eat. I think that we are going to be hungry. Our defense has been playing out of their minds lately, and Atlanta throws the ball 65% of the time. They're on offense. It's very heavy doses of Matt Ryan, Kyle Pitts, Cordell Patterson out of the backfield. No Calvin Ridley this week. So how do they, who fills his role? But you're going to get a lot of passing, and you're going to have a lot of opportunities to put pressure on him. And I'll get more into that in the show, but I'm looking for, our defense to continue their great play, because that really has set the tone for the New England Patriots the last 3 or 4 weeks.
It absolutely has. And kind of when Mack was going through his little tough stretch there for a couple games, wasn't playing his best football, the defense is what won this team football games. I mean, they've had multiple turnovers. JC Jackson had a pick 6, had 2 picks in that Panthers game. That was huge. Even though that game was never necessarily close, if the defense didn't play the way they did, it would have been a lot closer than it was. So the defense is playing really, really well right now. I hope they can keep it up against quality competition and keep doing what they're doing, because it's fun to watch this team right now. They're playing extremely well. Offensively, they're clicking on all cylinders. Defensively, they're firing on all cylinders. So they're playing really, really good football right now. And this is a team that it almost feels like one of these typical Patriots games where you feel like you should walk right over the team, and it kind of sets up to be a closer game than it should. So I hope that's not how it ends up. I hope they handle their business and take care of this one, because you got to take care of a team like this, especially a team that's injured. And I mean, if you look at them at the beginning of the year, they have some weapons. Kyle Pitts, Calvin Ridley, Cordell Patterson's playing out of his mind this year. He's doing really, really well. So they have some pieces, but Patterson's questionable. We'll get into that more in a little bit. Pitts is a good to go. Calvin Ridley's out. So, I mean, they're beating up a little bit offensively, and this is a great matchup for this defense. This defense should be able to do their job this week and hold them to a low number for points.
Yeah, you talked about Kyle Pitts. That dude's a freak. When he was coming out of Florida, I was high on him. I would have loved New England to have tried to have get him if we weren't targeting a quarterback. Obviously, quarterback 1, but Kyle Pitts is a generational talent. Last year, as he was a junior at Florida, in his 8 games, he played 770 receiving yards. That was good for 18 yards a catch as a tight end and 12 touchdowns. So put up ridiculous stats. And then this year, continuing on, he is 4th in all of tight ends in passing. Sorry, I'm pulling this up right here. In passing or in receiving yards, he currently has 606. That's only behind Mark Andrews, who's 623, and Travis Kelce at 747. So he's ahead of Waller. He's ahead of Kittle, which Kittle's been hurt. But still, and the thing that worries me about Kyle Pitts, as I'm looking at Pro Football Focus, is how do you guard the guy? The guy leads the league in receiving yards when going against man coverage. He has 216 of his 606 yards against man coverage. When you go zone against him, he's 3rd in the league, only behind Andrews and Kittle with 340 yards. So the guy eats against every coverage. Now, I don't know what backers, especially with Jamie Collins going on IR, that we're going to have to guard him in man coverage. Adrian Phillips is too small. Jawan Bentley's gotten faster, but I'm not trusting him to guard him consistently at the tight end position. So that's a scary matchup for me. And Calvin Ridley's not going to be there. So that, takes a little bit of pressure off of the secondary, where I don't think JC Jackson necessarily has to line up and shut down Calvin Ridley like he normally would. But Kyle Pitts is going to be the main factor of this game. And I think Bill, we know how well he does at focusing on one guy and taking him away. Bill's going to do that this week. It's just going to be interesting to see how he does that.
Yeah, and he's getting targeted a decent amount for a tight end. 7 targets. So this is the past. I'm just going to list out the games recently. So 7 targets, 6 targets, 8, 10, 9, and then 3, 6, 8. So that's the entire season for targets. So double-digit targets at some points for a tight end, getting to the 7 to 10 range in most games. He's getting targeted. He's a super talented player. Did you hear Belichick's comments on him today?
Oh, yeah.
Comparing, he said, so it's somewhere between a Julio Jones and a Tony Gonzalez about Kyle Pitts.
Yep.
It doesn't get much more higher praise than that right there. You can tell Belichick's got the ultimate respect for that guy. He had that one-handed catch a couple weeks ago. He seems like his catch radius is ridiculous. He's super athletic. You can't really put a linebacker on him because he will absolutely toast them, as we've seen multiple times before. A cornerback sometimes is too small, like you said. Safety sometimes too slow. It's just the guy's a mismatch nightmare, and that's kind of what we talked about heading into the draft. Why it would have been kind of cool to end up with a guy like Kyle Pitts to see what he could do in this offense. He's one of those generational talents that you know why he's drafted 4th overall in the draft, because he makes a difference every play. You have to account for this guy. He's a mismatch nightmare, and it's gonna be tough to handle. But if Patterson's out, the only guy you need to worry about is Kyle Pitts. Handle Kyle Pitts, and the rest will do itself, because after that, they got like Russell Gage. I mean,
they have Zacharias, which, yeah, like you're saying, like, these guys aren't going to scare you. They're going to be good role players, but they're not going to beat you individually. You're not going to lose the game because Zacharias had 145 yards and 2 touchdowns on you. Knock on wood. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry.
If Patterson's out, they're one difference maker on offense. Kyle Pitts. That's it. So I guarantee you, Belichick is going to pull out every trick in the book, whatever he needs to do to shut this guy down, put 2 guys on him, double coverage, bracket coverage, whatever you need to do to shut this guy down, he's going to do it. And I wouldn't be surprised if Pitts still had a couple catches. Past couple weeks, he hasn't been doing as well as he kind of started off there in the season. I don't know if that's defense is kind of seeing what starts to work a little bit on him, but I mean, against Miami, they had Xavier Howard on him at certain points, and he was beating him. So it's hard to figure out. If you put your best corner on him with bracket coverage, maybe something like that, you're going to have to account for this guy. He's an extreme difference maker, and you got to know where he is on every single play and pay a lot of attention to him, especially if he's their one guy.
Yeah, and the thing is since Calvin Ridley went out against the Dolphins, that was his last game, so he hasn't played the last 3 games. This will be 4. Kyle Pitts has actually seen less targets per game on average and less yards per game on average. And I credit a lot of that to teams focusing on Kyle Pitts now. They know Kyle Pitts is the dude. Like, he's a guy that you're going to bracket. If Calvin Ridley's out there, it's a totally different story. Calvin Ridley's a great receiver too. He in 4 of the 5 games he's played this year, he's had over 10 targets. Resulting in 5 receptions, 7, 8, 7, 4. So he's getting targeted at least 10 times a game in most of these games. Now you take those 10 targets away. Who are they going to go to? They're going to spread it out more. That's why you've seen the success for Cordell Patterson. You've seen Kyle Pitts have these breakout games before. But now teams are focusing and honing in on Kyle Pitts. Every team knew about Kyle Pitts coming out of the draft. They knew what he was like. So it's not like even with Calvin Ridley, teams are just like, oh, we'll leave him one-on-one coverage. Like, he can hurt you no matter what. But now it makes it a lot easier with no true wide receiver 1 on the outside that teams have to focus on. So I look for that to make it a little easier, but it is a unique matchup anytime you get a dominant tight end like this on the outside, where you can't put a safety on them. They're most likely too small. You can't put a linebacker on them. They're most likely too big and too slow. How do you guard him? I mean, it's interesting. Kyle Pitts, 6'6", 240, runs, like a gazelle, pretty much could have played receiver. It's crazy. So it'll be interesting to see what Bill has in store for him.
Yeah. I mean, defensively for us, I don't see us having that much of a challenge with anything they're doing, as long as Pitts is their only guy out there. Patterson's an interesting one. I heard a report, and this is kind of what we all saw, that he was going to be out this game and possibly out multiple weeks after. And now all of a sudden he's limited in practice, even though they didn't have practice. He's limited in their projected practice report. And he's questionable. He's going to be a game time decision. So that's kind of odd to hear somebody get ruled out and then say they're going to miss multiple weeks with a high ankle sprain, and all of a sudden he's possibly good to go. So I don't really know what to think about that. Personally, I think maybe they'll just activate him and use him as a decoy at some points, but it's hard to think that he's going to be a real problem and something you're really going to have to address too much if he's really dealing with that injury, and that's the severity of it. So it was reported by a trustable source. I can't remember which reporter reported it, but it's going to be something to pay attention to. And if that's the case, if he's out, it shouldn't be much of a problem for this defense, as long as they can handle Kyle Pitts, which is easier said than done. But they're going to focus all their attention on him, and this pass rush for the Patriots is going to have to pin their ears back, put pressure on Matt Ryan, and handle their own in the run game. But this offensive line is been struggling for the Falcons. So I think we'll be able to get pressure on them on the defense side of the ball. We should do a solid job stopping the run. They don't have any great running backs. I mean, they have Mike Davis and Cordell Patterson, but Patterson might not play, like I said. So that they don't have any real difference makers running the football or in the passing game outside of Pitts. So it shouldn't be too much of a challenge as long as they just all handle their responsibilities, do their job, and get pressure on Matt Ryan. That's kind of the main key on defense for them.
Yeah, and I mean, with Cordell Patterson this year, he's been great. 473 receiving yards, 303 rushing yards. He goes for about 85 total scrimmage yards a game. Like, that's a big deal for teams. That's 85 yards that they're going to have to fill from who knows where, especially without Calvin Ridley already. That's tough. And their offense already ranks 29th in rush yards on the season and 21st in pass yards on the season. So they're getting good production out of these dudes, and they're still not even top half, top third of the league, top 2/3 of the league in most of the offensive categories. So where does their offense comes from, especially against a defense, like I mentioned, that is allowing less than 18 points a game, and the last 3 games has just been on fire, both, in the secondary against the run, shutting things down. I just don't see what this Falcons team can do that will be successful to beat New England for 4 quarters unless they just lay an egg.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think the Falcons right now are averaging 82 rush yards per game. Patriots are averaging 114. So 32 more rush yards per game there. Pass yards, 242 per game for the Falcons. Same for the Patriots. So they're definitely more pass heavy, like you mentioned, stats wise, percentage of throws compared to runs. They're definitely more pass heavy than run heavy. And they're probably going to be passing a lot, especially if early on, if we end up getting a lead, it's kind of going to take the running game away from them, and they might have to play catch up a little bit. And that might feed right into our hand a little bit better because they might have even less playmakers in the passing game as long as we handle Pitts out than in the running game. So I'm really not too concerned about a whole lot in this game. It's kind of one of those games where it feels like maybe it's too good to be true, and one of those too easy ones that sometimes make you a little bit nervous, especially on a short week. You really never know what's going to happen health wise. Guys can be banged up. Preparation is so different. And like we haven't really mentioned yet, Mack Jones, he's never been on a week like this before. This is obviously, he's a rookie in the NFL. He's never experienced something like this, a short week, a quick turnaround like that. So it's going to be interesting to see how he handles his preparation and how he prepares himself with the short amount of time. I'm not really concerned about his preparation because we know how he is about football. We know after his first game, he was so mad. He immediately was watching film that night after, and that game was ended at like 7. So we know he's crazy about football. I'm not really that concerned about it, but you never know. It's something different. It's out of routine. You never really know how a guy's going to handle it. So it's going to be another big test for him. It's going to be just another opportunity for him to prove himself and prove that him as a rookie, he doesn't act like a rookie at all. I mean, a lot of guys think of him as a 5-10 year vet based off how he's playing. So just another opportunity for him to cement himself as the offensive rookie of the year.
Yeah, I wanted to touch on this comment. I like this. How would you feel if we put Jawan Williams on Pitts with a safety over the top? Jawan's got the size to match up with him. Not saying he can stop him by any means, but just an idea. I don't mind it. Jawan is not going to shut him down one-on-one. Now, I don't think you can get away by doing this the whole game, but I think that this is very interesting to do as a changeup. He definitely has the size to run with him. If there's no safety over the top of him, this is not going to happen. But the thing that's interesting about Kyle Pitts is that he's lining up more in the slot than he is anywhere on the field. He's not lining up as a true inline tight end, anchor to line of scrimmage. And that's where I see New England gaining their advantage is if he is in the line, you can chip him with one of your ends and delay his release. And then I'd feel comfortable with Jawan Williams. What's interesting though is how diversity or how good he is at doing different things. They put him in the slot. They put him out wide. They do so many different things with his alignment that it makes it hard to just match up, who you want on him because it creates mismatches other places too. So it's going to be interesting to see. I don't mind the idea though. I think that that's a good thing to look for to see if they have confidence in Jawan Williams' size being enough to keep up with him, at least to slow him down and keep a safety over the top to help on vertical routes where I'm sure Jawan Williams will get beat if he is on him. But the concept of the idea is not bad. I just don't know how many reps are going to do that per game, and that can't be their full game plan, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, Juwan Williams, for context, is 6'4". He ran a 4.64 40. Kyle Pitts, 6'6", ran a 4.44 40. So, I mean, Pitts has got a couple inches on him, and he's faster than Juwan Williams. I mean, obviously 1-on-1, there's absolutely zero chance that I would like that matchup. But if he's got heavy safety help and a presence on every play, I guess I wouldn't mind trying it out and seeing what happens. It's tough. I mean, I don't know who you're supposed to put on him. I'd probably feel most comfortable putting JC Jackson and somebody still helping over the top. I think you got to double team this guy and at least bracket coverage, safety help, whatever it is, maybe zone coverage and kind of have more guys' attention on wherever he's running. But they don't have many weapons like we talked about outside of him. So I'm not worried about our second, third corners. I think they'll be fine. It's just locking this guy down, and there's no real easy solution to it. So I'm going to be very interested to see how Belichick covers this guy, because I think that might be a blueprint for a lot of NFL teams, and they're going to say, hey, how does Bill Belichick try to take this best weapon away and try to handle Kyle Pitts? And I'm sure they'll try to replicate it based on what he does. But I obviously wouldn't love the matchup, but if he's got help and he can handle his own a little bit, just stay with him and not create too much separation away from him, then that wouldn't be bad. But I think Pitt's route running and his ability and speed, athleticism for a guy that big is just freakish. You don't see it very often. So Juwan Williams, don't love it. He can't really cover normal tight ends that well all the time, or receivers. So maybe Pitts is kind of in the middle of receiver and tight end and it works for him, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if what JC Jackson's 40 was. I'm sure it's no faster than 4.4. It's got to be close to 4.4. But I mean, running a 4.4 at 6'6" and 4.46. So pretty much the exact same, 0.2 of a second slower. So, I mean, and then what? JC Jackson's 5'10", maybe 5'11". What do they list him as? I mean, now you're giving up 6 inches. So that's what we're talking about, is the mismatch wherever you put him. Okay, well, you want to put a guy that runs similar to 40 with him. Well, then you're giving up 6 inches. Okay, well, let's put Juwan Williams on him, who is, similar in height to him, but now he's going to give up 2 seconds or a little bit less time and speed. So
JC Jackson's listed at 6'1".
Yeah, I'd be surprised if he's that. They always seem to bump that up, and
I agree. That's
6 foot, we'll say, but still, that's 6 inches, 6'6", 6 foot, and so
and that's just height. A mismatch. I mean, the reach in general is just a whole nother category. You might have 6 inches height on a guy, but your catch radius and his vertical was ridiculous too. I mean, his
his wingspan's got to be massive. I mean, I don't even know if I want to know what it is. It's probably so big.
I mean, you saw that catch radius on that one-handed catch. It's just,
that's what I was just going to say, against the Jets, when there's really nowhere to throw it, and Matt Ryan just kind of leads it and gives it to him. It was nuts. It was nuts.
But that's the kind of thing that you got to worry about. There's no good matchup for him. There's no corner, safety, linebacker in the NFL that can cover this guy one-on-one and you feel confident about it. At least I wouldn't. So that's kind of the problem that arises when you got a guy that talented. Okay, so vertical leap 33.5 inches, 4.44 40-yard dash. Arm length 33.5 inches.
Yeah, it's big. It's massive. So big human. But I think that the thing that I want to get into now and talk about is, obviously Kyle Pitts is a great mismatch, but I think the mismatch we need to be talking about here, that's the bigger mismatch, is how successful our running game is going to be against the Falcons rush defense. The Falcons rush defense right now is giving up, in their overall, they have given up 122 yards per game. That's 11th worst in the NFL. Sorry, I'm doing backwards numbers. So they're 21st out of 32 in the league. So not good at all.
Past couple of games they've been doing a little better, right? Like
their last 3 games they're allowing 142.
Really? Let me see.
So they're above their average. And New England's last 3 games in rushing, they're averaging 159. This is the mismatch I see in this game, where New England could just and they've been doing it against good defenses. They've been doing it against the Browns. They did it against The Panthers, they've been running the ball all over teams that have, well-known good defensive line play, and they've been doing it effectively. And we only are getting better. We have Trent Brown back now. He's, going into his second week. He was dominant in week 1, had a great PFF grade. Who knows what we do with Isaiah Wynn, Michael Onwenu, how we change that offensive line. But even if we keep it the same, they've seemed like they finally found their stride and they've been rolling. So I'm excited to see this rushing game that's averaging 159 yards the last 3 games of New England going against this Falcons defense. I don't see them stopping them. And I see, New England finding ways to gash them and then setting up easy passes for Mack Jones to capitalize drives or maybe have some explosive plays.
So last week they held Zeke to 41 yards on 2.9 a carry. So 14 attempts, 41 yards, 41 yards, 2.9 a carry. So they held him in check last week a little bit. Tony Pollard had, I think, 40 yards as well. I don't know what his yards per carry was, but last week they probably looked the most impressive as a run defense that they have all year. And that's going against a pretty solid team that rushes the football in the Dallas Cowboys. Their offensive line is good and they can run it on most anybody's, but overall, they got one guy in the middle of their defense that is a problem, and on that defensive line, a problem stopping the run. And other than that, you should be able to feast. So if you handle that one guy up the middle, you're going to have success against this D line. And I have to give Trent Brown some credit. I watched some of the Game Pass and looked back at most of his plays this past week. I don't think I saw one play where he didn't win his block convincingly. He was dominant all game last game. Every snap that I watched him on the field, he's moving 1-2 guys. 5 yards. You don't see that in the NFL. It was ridiculous how much he pushed some guys back on that defensive line for the Browns. And that's not a team that's really been bad stopping the run. They have a good defensive line, good defensive front, and he was moving bodies. And I got to give him credit. He looked really, really good. He's certainly a difference maker. If he continues to play like this offensive line is going to be a problem for defenses because, yikes. I wish we could have Trent Brown at left tackle and Onwenu at right tackle because I think that offensive line, I know we talked about Wynn being good in the run game, but he got some heavy help, and it wasn't like they were trusting him one-on-one with Myles Garrett and he only allowed 1 sack. He did get some heavy help going back and looking at it, but I don't know. Trent Brown did really good, and I had to give him some credit for that because obviously I've been frustrated he hasn't played all year, but he's back, and hopefully he's back for the rest of the year because he is certainly going to be a good addition for this offense.
Oh yeah, he's going to continue to make a huge impact. And I mentioned it last episode, but now we have 6 good offensive linemen that I feel comfortable with. How we match them up and start them is still, yet to be seen. And if Ted Karras can continue to play at a high level, but you get down in 3rd and short, 4th and short goal line packages, and you're bringing in Michael Onwenu or Isaiah Wynn as your 6 offensive linemen. That's got to make you as a Patriots fan smile. It's unheard of to have 6 guys like that. And last year, Michael Onwenu, an all rookie or an all pro as a rookie or all rookie first team, whatever, how great he was last year. And now he's, not lost his job, but he's in a spot where we have so many other guys playing not better than him, but so many other guys playing good or great ball and so many other guys that can move around that he's kind of the odd man out. It sucks in a way, but it's a great problem to have. You could have it the other way where you can't even assemble the same offensive line for 2 quarters, kind of like you saw with the Dallas or with the Cowboys last year. You've seen with the Panthers the last couple of years. So we have a good problem going on at the offensive line right now, and you only hope that continues.
Yeah, it's a good problem to have. We struggled earlier on in the season, like we kind of talked about, with kind of switching guys in and out. We didn't have enough offensive linemen that could hold up their end of the bargain, and we had to keep switching guys and hoping one guy ended up playing better than the other, and they just both kind of sucked. So that wasn't great. Now we got 6 good offensive linemen you can trust in there, and we got a couple guys that are pretty versatile and can play different positions. Karras can play center in both guard positions. Onwenu can play both guard positions and both tackle positions. So it's a good problem to have. Trent Brown can play both tackle positions. Isaiah Wynn can switch to guard if he needs to. I don't really see us maybe doing that, but I think this week, offensive line wise, they'll probably keep the same as last week just because it's a short week. But if we're going to see an offensive line change, I'm assuming it's going to be the 10 days off going in against the Titans. That's probably when we'll see it, if we see it at all. So I'm going to be interested to see if they do that. I think a lot of people want to see Trent Brown at left tackle. I did a poll. I think 80 something percent says they want to Trent at left tackle. And I wouldn't mind just benching Isaiah Wynn based on his struggles. I know he's been a little better recently, but Ted Karras seems to be meshing well with that offensive line, not making a lot of mistakes. And he's a veteran leader that can see the defense through the center, through the quarterback's eyes. He's a center, just like David Andrews. It's another set of eyes for Mack Jones to help him read things better at the offensive line, at the defensive line, the linebacker position, all that stuff, pick up blitzes, communicate with the line, all that different stuff. So I think Karras is a good veteran guy to keep on that offensive line. If he's still playing well and Isaiah Wynn keeps struggling, Trent Brown, throw him at left tackle, because Mike Onwenu is a great right tackle, and it's really, really hard to watch him sitting on the bench, a guy who's that talented.
I agree. I want to answer this question also. Y'all think AJ Terrell matches up with Jacoby tomorrow? I think it's tough. AJ Terrell does not play a lot of slot cornerback. Their slot cornerback's Isaiah Oliver. I think that's the matchup that you're looking at. And quite frankly, Kendrick Bourne might be playing better football than Jacoby Myers is right now. And maybe they think AJ Terrell needs to be on him more than he needs to be on Jacoby. So I think that it will happen. I don't think that it's going to be something Atlanta is looking for to match up because they're so scared of Jacoby Myers. I think that, this is the thing New England's had the last 2 or 3 years is there's not one receiver that is known as that wide receiver one, but they all complement each other so well that if you focus on one, another one's going to hurt you. And they're all strong in their own ways. So I look for Isaiah Oliver to be the one guarding Jacoby most of the time, which is probably going to be a good matchup. And hopefully Jacoby can make some plays on him because he has had his struggles at times.
I think he's going to match up on Julian Edelman because he's coming out of retirement, if you didn't hear. So that's the matchup to watch. Jules versus Terrell. We'll see how he does. No, but I agree with you there. Either Kendrick Bourne or maybe even Aguilar. We'll see. It's a good issue, and a lot of people were complaining about not having a number one receiver. We'd all love to have a number one receiver who's this difference maker. Of course, that's great to have on your football team, but it's also pretty good to have 3 receivers that you can trust and all are good at different things. And you can't really you can't put your top corner on their top receiver because they might not really have a top receiver. That's kind of the boat we're in right now. We got 3 different guys that you can count on in different situations. Jacoby Myers and Kendrick Bourne are both pretty sure-handed receivers running great routes and can catch the ball, third down, get ahead of the sticks, whatever you need to do. Those guys are pretty reliable. So you can't really put your top corner and shut down our top receiver because we got multiple guys who are all around the same level, and week to week, depending on who's playing better, you might match up with a different guy. But I don't think any of these corners are really studying only one guy and saying, hey, I'm going to shut down this receiver. I think they're all probably looking at multiple guys and analyzing their routes and how they go about things. But it's going to be interesting to see how they plan to attack this offense.
Yeah, there's really no guy that if I was preparing, I wouldn't feel, strongly that Nelson Aguilar, Jacoby Myers, Kendrick Bourne is going to go off, because as soon as you focus on one of those guys, I'd be comfortable with the other guy going off. Or I'd be like, Jacoby Myers can go off if you don't focus on him, or if you don't play him normally, he can go off. Kendrick Bourne, we saw what he did. He was 2 yards shy of 100 yards last week and had a great catch against the Cowboys that, put us back in the game, sent it to overtime and stuff. So they all have their own unique traits that they can do. And I agree. I really don't think that, Atlanta has the luxury of doing that too. They're not very good in the secondary. They're not looking for guys like, oh, hey, you're going to go shut down him, and I feel comfortable with you guarding Jacoby, and then you can guard Aguilar. I think that they're going to be hard pressed to find enough guys as it is to guard our guys consistently.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about that matchup as well. Switching to the quarterback situation, what are your thoughts on kind of this quarterback matchup and what we got to look for from both sides?
It's very interesting, this quarterback matchup. Obviously, Matt Ryan, he's been throughout the league. He's been here for a long time. He led the Falcons to a Super Bowl, 28-3. Sorry about that. I had a little hairball in my throat.
Quick side note: the game preview I watched for the Falcons Patriots. How they do the predictions at the end. The NFL posted it. I think it was Adam Rank posted his score prediction for this game was 28-3. I got a chuckle out of that. I thought that was pretty funny
for New England.
Yeah, 28-3 Pats win.
That's funny. But no, Matt Ryan, he's been around. He's seen it all. He's played the Patriots at the highest stage. He played Bill Belichick in this defense, and he sliced us up in the first half of that game, and then we got to him. So it's an interesting thing because Matt Ryan, I still think he has it, and he's still a very capable quarterback. He just doesn't have the guys around him, and that's where he's going to struggle. Only completing, 67% of his passes, 2,200 yards, 15 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. He's surprisingly, and this doesn't surprise me actually for a quarterback that is so experienced as he is, but when he's under pressure, he's still Mack Jones's passer rating under pressure 73.8. Matt Ryan's is 87.7. So you can get pressure on Matt Ryan. The offensive line is allowing the 6th most sacks this year. They have 16 total sacks throughout their games that they've played. So you can get on him, but he knows when to get the ball. He knows how quickly to get the ball. He makes the right reads. So this is one of those games where, I think Bill can trick him a couple times, but you're not going to see Matt Ryan come in and just blatantly throw 5 interceptions because he has no clue what's going on. Now, he might throw 5 interceptions because he's trying to force things and he feels like he has to, and his receivers can't get open. That's how I see, turnovers coming, but he's not going to get tricked by too many things that New England throws at him. So it's going to be good quarterback play. I just don't think he has the guys around him to succeed like he did when he won MVP and won the Super Bowl. When Julio Jones was in his prime, they had Calvin Ridley healthy still, was doing good things, and multiple. Devontae Freeman was still there. Tevin Coleman was a great pass catcher. They just don't have those type of weapons anymore. So it's more about his supporting cast, I think.
It's weird to. I mean, this is off topic, but it's weird to see how quick some of these running backs that we look at from 5 years ago have fell off. Le'Veon Bell was a nightmare. Week to week, he was a problem for teams. It was somebody you got to really game plan for in the passing game and in the running game. Todd Gurley, I know he has that knee injury, but him, Freeman, now he's on the Ravens and he's doing decent. But there's a lot of talented running backs you look 5 years ago at the NFL that are just gone. And it's, on practice squads or not
Jonas Gray.
Yeah.
4 touchdowns.
Exactly.
Gone.
Yeah, exactly. That was the main one I was thinking of. I forgot it off the top of my head.
What a shame. Shame.
But yeah, back on topic. The quarterback matchup. If you look at numbers, they're pretty similar. And a guy coming out of the draft, a lot of people, what you heard was, what is Mack Jones' ceiling? Okay, a guy like Matt Ryan. That is a lot of people compared Mack Jones' ceiling to Matt Ryan, and right now he's currently playing better than Matt Ryan, I'd say, based on, especially recently. He's putting up some good performances, but their stats are pretty similar. Mack Jones throwing for a little bit higher completion percentage, a little bit more yards, couple less touchdowns, 1 less pick. Quarterback rating, Mack Jones has a 94.1 quarterback rating. Matt Ryan is 93.1. So, stats wise, they're pretty close, and it's good to see that this rookie's ceiling might be a little higher than we expected based off all that we've seen this year. And it's hard to really put a ceiling on this kid because I don't really know. I don't really know what he's capable of because I don't really see any limits on this kid's ceiling. He's doing really, really good. And the more he learns this offense, the more chemistry he builds, he's just going to make faster decisions, better decisions with the ball, and continue to put touch on throws. And I'm sure he'll build up his arm strength the more he plays in the NFL and works out more and conditioning and all that stuff. So I'm sure he's going to have a good plan and regimen for this offseason. But I think it's a good quarterback matchup. I think Matt Ryan is obviously, like you touched on, great veteran quarterback who's not going to make a lot of mistakes. You're not going to be able to count on him making any Sam Darnold or Baker Mayfield throws. Baker Mayfield had probably 4 or 5 turnover worthy plays last week. You're not going to see that from Matt Ryan this week, I don't think. He's a guy that takes care of the football, and it's not a guy who's going to make a ton of dumb mistakes. Maybe this Patriots defense will force them into it because I think we're going to be able to get pressure on him with this offensive line struggling. The run game might not be doing too well for him. So I think we should be able to get pressure and force him into some throws, especially with not a lot of weapons around him. He might not have any options but to force some throws if he wants to stay in this football game. So I hope it's going the way we're talking about. It'd be really sad if the Patriots went out there and got their butts whooped and lost to a Falcons team that we're talking like this about. But it should be a game they should win, and I don't see it going any different way.
Yeah. if I had to ask you, what do you think Matt Ryan ranks all time in passing yards in the NFL, in NFL history? If you had to take a random guess, what would you say?
How old is he? 38?
He was drafted in 08, so this is year what, 14?
Oh. Okay, so
13?
he's younger than that, right?
Yeah, probably. See if
I
I can find it. He is it doesn't say right here. He was born in he's 36. He was born in 1985.
okay. 1985, he's 36.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I don't know. That's tough. 8th?
Dude, spot on. You just looked it up, you cheater.
No way.
I'm serious. 8th. You want to know who that's
Wow.
above? Matthew Stafford, Aaron Rodgers, Eli Manning, John Elway, Joe Flacco. Sorry, Joe Flacco probably shouldn't be up there. Joe Montana, right? I mean, you look at he's 3,000 yards behind Dan Marino.
Is he really 8th?
Yeah, he really is 8th.
Wow.
That was a good guess. Nice.
That was a very lucky guess.
That was very
I had no
you
clue.
Definitely cheated.
I
saw your eyes go off the screen a little.
Yeah, we'll have to run that recording back and see.
No, I mean, he's been in the league for 13, 14 years, and he's 8th in the NFL in all-time passing yards. Like, the dude has stuck around, and I think it was interesting. I wanted to read this quote by Louis Riddick. I don't know if you saw this. It was going around Twitter today. This is what Louis Riddick said about Mack Jones before the draft. And I find it very similar because you said, Mack Jones has some people said that his ceiling, was Matt Ryan type. But this is what happens when you have a guy that's similar to how Mack Jones and Matt Ryan play. So Louis Riddick said this: I believe this. We have become so conditioned to believe unless you have Patrick Mahomes or a guy like Deshaun Watson or Russell Wilson who can run around and make it look like schoolyard football that you can't win in the NFL. This position is about decision-making and accuracy. That's what Mack Jones is. That is always going to be the case at quarterback. It's still what the position will always come back to. That's one of Mack's strong points. He doesn't have Mahomes' arm. He doesn't have Watson's arm. He doesn't even have Zach Wilson's arm. But what he has is the ability to make quick decisions and put the ball on people in a timely fashion that allows them to do what they can do. I love this quote. I loved it. I thought that it was spot on. And you talk about a guy like Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan doesn't wow you with his arm. He doesn't wow you with his running abilities. Neither does Mack Jones. But they do the things right that you need to at a quarterback, that Tom Brady did, that Peyton Manning did, that, other successful Drew Brees, guys like this that have been successful in the league for years and years and years. That is what both of these quarterbacks do. And you're seeing it in Mack Jones, who's a young guy. You're seeing it in Matt Ryan, who's getting up there in age and, might be done soon. So it's crazy how similar I see these two quarterbacks play style is now. I think Mack Jones is better than him right now because of the weapons he has and the youth and stuff. But I think that they're very similar, and you're going to see that with Mack Jones. He's not going to outrun, Chase Winovich or Christian Barmore to the sidelines and get a first down unless we're in 2-man and, he scrambles and, it's a miracle. But he's going to put the ball accurately. He's going to put it on time. He's going to make the right read 90% of the time. And, he's very similar. So I think these two guys are very similar. And you said the comparison. If Mack Jones were to turn to be Matt Ryan in 15 years, I'd be pretty happy with how that is, because Matt Ryan is 8th all time in NFL passing yards, and he should have a Super Bowl if it wasn't for the greatest, quarterback and franchise in the world that, spoiled it. So I'd be happy if Mack Jones were to reach this ceiling that he has. And if Mack Jones reaches Matt Ryan's stats that he has in 10 years, I would say with Bill Belichick and the team that he can put around him, he probably has 2 or 3 Super Bowls. That's just the reality of it.
Yeah, he really is 8th. I thought you were messing with me.
No, I swear, I'm not lying. Yeah, he is.
I thought you might be still messing with me. I was like, oh, no. So I looked it up. He is.
No, he is.
Who would you say you think's faster, Mack Jones or Matt Ryan?
Oh, Mack Jones. His 40 was actually kind of impressive, wasn't it?
Yeah. Do you think it's because the unofficial, you think he was helped out with time, or do you think that's actually?
I mean, it's always faster in the unofficials. Now, they obviously can't say Mack Jones ran a 4.6, but
yeah,
they can make it, a little faster. So
Max,
I'd like to see what he really ran at a combine, but it was still an impressive number when I read what he ran at Alabama.
Unofficial 4.79.
Yeah, see, I don't think that it's actually 4.79. Now, there have been clips of him running out of the pocket that he does look pretty fast.
I agree.
I think high 4.8s would be my guess if they were to laser time or hand time him at a combine. But yeah, they have those little, they always want to make their guy look better. So
Matt Ryan 4.89.
yeah, that would be what I would guess Mack Jones was close to
So
in real time.
You look at kind of their movement ability outside of the pocket. Nothing special, but they can move enough to make plays if they need to, but that's not what they rely on. They're a pocket quarterback. Mack is the next Lamar confirmed. I bet if he raced Lamar, he'd beat him by 20 yards in a 40-yard dash. So
and that would be giving Lamar a 20-yard head start.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking as well.
Yeah.
But overall, I mean, build wise, even maybe play style wise, in some aspects, that they're kind of similar. And I wouldn't be mad at an MVP and a couple Super Bowl chances. It's that wouldn't be bad at all for Mac Jones. And I think situation wise, if he turned out, I think if Matt Ryan played for the Patriots the past 20 years, I think he would have a Super Bowl by now. I don't really think that's a question necessarily. So if Mac Jones turns out to be Matt Ryan or even a little better, I think that's a huge success. And I think especially in this system, being Matt Ryan or better, that's 1 to 3 Super Bowls I would guess you can get at least. Maybe that's a little spoiled with the Patriots' success, but I mean, we see what he's doing already as a rookie. I don't think there's really much of a limit on what we can expect from this kid. I think he's going to keep getting better, and it's going to be really fun to see this kid to continue to progress, even just throughout the season. It's been really, really fun to watch and seeing what he improves on in the offseason, how he comes back next year and continues with all the knowledge, and he'll have a whole year of film to watch and see what defenses did to him and studying coverages and all that stuff. This is one of the most exciting times being a Patriots fan, having a new quarterback, getting to experience the buildup of his career. Because, I mean, I was born when Tom Brady was drafted, basically. So it's like I was too young to see him develop. I watched the games when I was young, but I don't really remember watching Brady play until I was like 6, 7, 8 years old. And that's kind of when he was more established. And you don't really see the drafting and the developing and the improvement over the years. It's a lot of the main improvement happens over the first few years. So I'm excited to see this kid continue to progress. And Matt Ryan's a great comparison, and his play style is something that's been successful in the NFL. Him and Mac Jones's play style for the past, forever, basically. I don't think it's ever going to go away.
No, I don't either. I think that Mac Jones is going to be a very successful quarterback in this league for a while. So the last thing I wanted to point out in our little game preview before we get to the injury report, and then Pat Scout asks us some hot takes. We get to our hot takes and then our game picks. So if you guys have hot takes in here, start dropping them in the chat, and we can start thinking of ours. And Pat Scout, your time's coming in the next couple of minutes. But last thing I wanted to point out, Jalen Mayfield, their rookie left tackle, 3rd round draft pick out of Michigan. He is currently 8th in the NFL in most pressures allowed at 33. He's tied third for the most sacks allowed in the league at 6. Now we talked about how, Mac Jones is going to make Matt Ryan's going to make quick reads, but I don't know if any of you guys saw the stat. I know that Cole has shared it. I know other Patriots pages have shared it. Who is the second leading rookie in pressures? It was first, but Jason Away from the Ravens jumped him with 29. Christian Barmore at 28. And that's not too bad for a rookie right here. 28th in total pressures is good enough for 36 in the league. You think of how many guys are, actually rotating between all 32 teams' defensive lines. It's a lot. They got to keep those guys fresh. So Jalen Mayfield plays left guard. I look for Bill to exploit that matchup and get Christian Barmore on Jalen Mayfield a lot and exploit, a rookie who's having great success getting pressure on the quarterback to another rookie who's struggling to protect his quarterback. That's something I look for Bill to find and exploit, and we see Barmore continue to have a heyday on these offensive lines.
Yeah, this kid's fun to watch as well. This rookie draft class has been extremely fun to watch. Barmore, Ramondre Stevenson, Mac Jones, all these guys. That's one of the most exciting parts, and that's why I look forward to the draft as well, is seeing the young talent that we get and getting to watch them develop. That's one of the most fun parts of being a fan and watching the progress of these guys. So Barmore, he's a stud. He's already a stud. I can't imagine what he's going to be 5 years from now when he really gets going in the NFL and gets his feet under him. He's already playing really, really well and really impressive for a rookie, especially in the second round. I can't believe we got him in the second round and we got Mack Jones at 15. Both of those is insane to me because he's playing like he could have been a top 20, top 15, even maybe pick. He's talented. So he should feast. Judon should have his success, maybe even Van Noy, guys. I think guys all over the defensive line. If Dietrich Wise ends up playing from that illness, he should have success as well. This defensive line, I think in the trenches, both sides of the ball, we should have success tomorrow night, and it's going to be a good one. It's going to be fun to watch. Can't wait to see Ronnie Perkins play too. Yeah, I can't either. And he's eligible to come off. Was he on PUP or IR?
I think PUP.
Okay, so he's eligible to come off whenever. I don't know. This might just be a redshirt year for him, but I'm excited for him as well. He's talented. Cam McGrone, I'm excited to see what he has next year when he comes off the injured list or whatever with that ACL from last year, whatever that was. A ton of talent. And we've all talked about Bill Belichick's drafting, but recent years, Kyle Duggar, Uche, although he hasn't been as impressive as I hoped, Barmore, Mack Jones, Ramondre Stevenson, Damian Harris. I mean, he's gotten plenty of talented guys. Isaiah Wynn until this year was looking like a success as well, but past couple drafts, past few drafts, we've had plenty of talent. So I think
kill Harry.
All right. Okay.
Yes.
That's the outlier.
Sony Michel.
That's
I guess he got us a Super Bowl. He helped us get a Super Bowl. So
he did. I mean, it was more on James Devlin and an offensive line, but he did his part as well. But yeah, we've had fair share of success, and recent drafting has been improving. It seems like more than in the past. I think we should just stay away from wide receivers and never draft one again because that clearly won't ever work. But you can get running backs late in the draft. We've kind of started to figure that out. It looks like, and Ramondre Stevenson looks like a success already. Damian Harris, success. We got some talent and some young talent coming in for all the veteran guys we used to have, and it's going to be fun to see these guys continue to progress.
Yeah, well, let's get into the injury report real quick, but I wanted to this is going to go with the injury report.
Wow. That's a hot take right there.
Wow, that's hot. We'll get into that real quick, but injury report real quick. But Pat Scout said, can't wait to see Ronnie Perkins play too. I agree. Josh Uche just hit IR. If Ronnie Perkins does come back, I think it would be good to see him get a little bit of playing time. I don't think he's going to get extended amounts, but Bill Belichick had high praise for him this week. He said he's doing great. He's does everything that we ask him to do, which I appreciate as a coach. Ronnie's doing great. I'm happy that he's on our team for sure. So there's been high praise from Bill Belichick about Ronnie Perkins and whether he comes in and finally starts to play with Uche on IR now for the next couple of weeks. And Chase Winovich just coming off of IR also this week. So you got to wonder how much he's actually going to play. But coming out of Oklahoma, he had great combination of athleticism and bent. This is off of his draft profile. He's a little bit lighter, only 6'2.5", 253. He's a little bit lighter, which maybe is why he fell in the draft to us, because he doesn't have that true, 4 down or 3 down defensive lineman size, but he plays fast. He's athletic. He's a true pass rusher, not very great at stopping the run. He can play 3-4 outside backer, knack for making plays on studs and blitzes. So I'm excited to see him too. I hope that he gets a little bit of snaps now, especially with us getting a little bit thin with Uche hitting IR. But that leads us into our next point with the injury report, and I'll let Cole take this away since he has most of them. Yeah.
So like you just touched on, Josh Uche to IR, Chase Winovich activated. I'm assuming that's going to be a pretty 1-for-1 swap based on their role. I mean, they kind of seem like similar players. Uche, it's been tough. I mean, he's flashed so much in training camps and in preseason and all the early stuff, and that's kind of what he was like in college as well, based on reports. And when we drafted him, that was kind of, hey, at Michigan, he would always flash in the spring and in early fall, and looks like he's going to set the world on fire and put up all these numbers, and then injuries, and he just doesn't end up performing as well as it seems like he can. So I don't know. He's been a player I've been really excited about and looking forward to seeing him develop, and he just hasn't performed as well as we've all hoped he would. And I still think he's a really talented young player, and I think he has a ton of potential. It's just it hasn't translated from practice to the game, and I don't know what that is, why that is, or what's the reason for that. But it'd be great to see him either next year or maybe coming off IR this year, kind of get healthy and get back into the swing of things and start playing like he does early in the year or during the preseason practices, training camp, all that stuff. Because he jumps off the screen and he was torching our offensive line. That's all we heard about all camp and OTAs, all that stuff. So that's kind of tough to see. Chase Winovich getting back healthy. That's good. We'll have him back, kind of 1-for-1 swap, like I mentioned. Dietrich Wise is questionable with an illness. He missed a couple practices. He was limited today. So that's good news. Hopefully he'll be good to go. Jonnu Smith traveled with the team. He should be good to go tomorrow. That's the report. Damian Harris and Gunner both expected. They were both cleared from concussion protocol, both expected to be able to go. So that's a plus as well, having Harris back with Ramondre taking a ton of touches last week. They can hopefully split touches and ease their way back into things with a 10-day break coming up. So that's good. Other than that, the Falcons ruled out Hayden Hurst, Darren Bates, and Kendall Sheffield. So there's a couple more pieces that the Falcons will be missing. Patterson is questionable with that ankle injury, and Jalen Hawkins is questionable with an ankle injury as well, their safety. So as for us, like I mentioned, those are the main guys. Nick Folk, Jake Bailey, as always, questionable. Duggar with an ankle. Other than that, nobody. Jalen Mills, questionable with a forearm injury, but he came back in and played, so I think he'll be fine. Shaq Mason with the abdomen. Trent Brown with the calf, questionable. Oh boy, that's not. Whew. We'll see what that ends up, but no. Other than that, we should be pretty good health wise, and a couple guys getting back. Uche to IR, but that's about it.
Yeah, I'm excited to see these guys play. Hayden Hurst will be not a huge loss, but he's a good anchor tight end that can block and create some gaps in the run game. So without having him, look for less 12, 13 personnel that they have ran before in certain games and look more to spread you out. And that goes back into the personnel thing, is like they don't have a lot of receivers in the first place. Now they're down another tight end. What kind of things are they going to throw at us on Thursday Night Football that they're going to try to use to confuse us? So it'll be interesting to see how they do. But let's get into our hot takes. Let's hit on this first one. Do you have anything off? This is a hot take. Do you have anything off of this list that you want to take, maybe change it a little, or any comments to this one?
I don't think I could see maybe Pats hold Pitts under 30 yards just because I don't think JC2 picks. Pats hold Pitts under 30 yards. I think that's possible just because the attention they're probably going to give him based on who's not playing. If Patterson's playing, maybe Pitts goes over 30 yards just because they can't focus as much on him. If Patterson is for some reason healthy after the report of him not playing and going to be out multiple weeks, but Mack 300 plus yards, I don't really see that. I mean, I think if they wanted to, Matt could throw for 300 yards, but I think this game is going to be get out there, get the win, run the football, and go from there. I think Mack's going to pass when he needs to. I don't think he'll have 4 touchdowns. I don't think Hunter Henry will have 3. I think that's a lot, but it's a hot take. It's a hot take for a reason. You know what I mean? If it wasn't not ridiculous, but if it wasn't unexpected, it wouldn't be a hot take. If we thought, yes, this is going to happen for sure, it wouldn't be a hot take. So, but I'd say Pats hold Pitts under 30 is the most likely out of those.
Okay. Are there any that you want to add to that for your own? Let's hear. You said you had one in mind. Maybe what's your first one?
My one in mind is that the Patriots have rushed for 200 yards against the Falcons tomorrow night.
200.
200. That's my number right there.
We already hit on it early in the show. New England has rushed for 154 on average the last 3 weeks. So I don't think it's crazy, especially with Atlanta.
114 on the year, 150 over the past few.
Yeah, and Atlanta was allowing, I don't remember, it was in the $140 range, or not $40, $140 range through the last 3 weeks. It's like 122 on the year. So
yeah,
they're susceptible to giving up some yards, and I think that New England can do it, especially with Trent Brown back, fully good. And I think Ramondre Stevenson continues to improve for us, and he can continue to be a weapon and help us. So I don't disagree with that. I think that that's a pretty dang good hot take. And anytime a team rushes for 200 yards, that's something that anyone
that's quite a bit.
Someone's got to focus on that. So that's a good one. I like that. I'm going to go with Now, we saw it last week, and no one thought that it was possible. Jacoby Myers had his first touchdown. I'm going to go with Jacoby Myers, 2 touchdowns.
Wow.
His high school was 27 minutes away from Falcon Stadium. Played at North Carolina State, so didn't play there, but his high school, his hometown's there. He had 1. He's going to keep it rolling. 2 touchdowns this week for Jacoby Myers. That is my hot take. That's my first hot take.
All right. I'm going to say my next one, Judon and Barmore combined for 3.5 sacks.
Ooh, 3.5. I like it. Now, we all talked about the pressures that Barmore is getting, so it's not something that I don't think is crazy outlandish. And hopefully we get some more. For me, this is going to be crazy. N'Keal Harry over 50 yards.
Wow.
N'Keal Harry.
First round.
I like this one. Pat Scout
Gunner.
IG. Gunner, punt return for a touchdown.
First game back, punt return for a touchdown. I like it.
I like it.
I'd
I
love
know
to see
you.
that.
I already know you don't like the N'Keal Harry one, but that's a dang hot take, right?
That is a hot take. That is a hot take for sure. Even though it shouldn't be a first round wide receiver getting over 50 yards in the game, that should not be unheard of, but it certainly is. I'd be shocked if he went over 50 yards. That is a hot take for sure.
He's gonna do it. So
let's see what else can I come up with. You got any other ones off the top of your head?
I'm trying to think of one. I'm gonna go. This is different. So we've had pick sixes this year. I'm gonna go New England with a strip sack for a touchdown. I'm gonna go with Matt Judon finally getting a strip sack, someone picking it up and scoring. That's gonna be my final hot take. So my 2 touchdowns for Jacoby Myers, over 50 yards for N'Keal Harry, strip sack for a touchdown.
All right. I'm gonna I said this the other week, and I don't love this based on the matchup, but I'm gonna go with I'm gonna say no.
Or this happens. Hightower can force a fumble too, Super Bowl flashback, right? There you go.
That would be great right there.
However, we're going to take it back to the house this time.
Yes. Yeah. I'm going to say Miles Bryant gets a pick. That's going to be my other hot take. He's been playing well, even though I don't think Matt Ryan's going to throw a ton of picks. He might have to force some balls, and I like how he's been performing so far this year, and he's been a great replacement as of so far for Jonathan Jones, even though we've been playing a lot of zone coverage because Jonathan Jones is a great man corner. So that's going to be my third hot take.
I like it. Well, Pat's IG or Pat Scout IG, this is our new segment we do with him. He started it, we adopted it, and we do it every week. Hot takes. So keep dropping them in the chat as they come to you as we do our game picks and stuff. And if you have any more, we'll hit on them. But let's move on to our Patriots line. Cole, you have the records for last week. Well, I guess 2 weeks ago, it would have been the Panthers week since we did not do a pregame show for the Browns. But what are our standings at right now?
So this, like you said, this was the predictions for the Panthers game. So this was a couple weeks ago. We didn't do picks for this past week's game because we didn't have an episode. So this week on the over-unders, I went 5-4. Jace went 3-6. Spread predictions 6-0. Jace went 3-3. So total on the year, I am 20-22 on the over-unders. Jace is 21-21. Spread predictions, I'm 23-15. Jace is 19-19. And then score predictions, we're tied at 3. We both have 3 wins in that department. So I was 1 point off. I said the Pats would score 23. That game they scored 24, but I think I said the Panthers would score like 14 or 17 or something like that.
I think your prediction was 23-17 and mine was,
I think you might be right. I think you had 30.
27. Yeah. Oh yeah. You're right. I did go 30. I went 30-17 or something like that. So
yep,
you're right.
So that's our totals for the year on that one.
Cool. Well, I just like being mediocre and staying at 500. So
you're not losing,
I ain't winning though. I'm like flipping a coin if I'm gambling. So that's what I'm going to start doing. I'm going to get a coin and I'm going to do my picks off of heads and tails and see if that's more accurate than my choice. So,
well, I mean, you're right at 50-50 right now. So that should land at the same rate you're hitting right now.
Yeah. So that's funny. Well, let's get into the Patriots Falcons Thursday night, tomorrow night, 8:20 p.m. Eastern time, 6:20 p.m. Mountain time for me, 5:20 p.m. freaking Pacific time.
Mountain time.
Yeah, I'm the one state that has it. Just kidding.
Are you really?
No, it's
us.
Okay. So it's weird. So it's us, and then like I'm pretty sure Montana, Nevada, Colorado, and stuff have it. And then Arizona doesn't do daylight savings. So half the year they're on it with us, half the year they're with California. So
That's
it's
so
weird.
odd.
But anyways, I get to watch football at 6:20 and have it over by 9:00. So it's nice.
I wouldn't mind being on mountain time over here. That'd be perfect timing wise for the games. But
no, but anyways, Patriots favored by 7 points. Cole, what is your prediction right here?
I got the Patriots covering this one. Thursday night games are sometimes a little closer than expected, but I like the role they've been on. Hopefully the Falcons don't score a late touchdown to keep it close, but I like the Patriots covering this one. They've been doing extremely well, playing really good football, and this is a game they got to win, and I hope they go out there and take it. I got them covering.
Yeah, the Falcons have they were on a little hot streak. I guess I shouldn't call it a hot streak, but they beat the Jets and the Dolphins 2 in a row, and then after that they it's not really a hot streak, but they won 2 in a row.
Stop the buses. They beat the Jets and the Dolphins.
They only beat the Dolphins by 2. So, but lost to Carolina. They did beat New Orleans and then got blown out by Dallas last week. And sometimes it's hard to come off of a 43-3 loss like that. At Dallas, coming back to Atlanta, Thursday night football, short week. These guys, what's their record sitting at? 4-5. So they're not completely out of it right now, but in the division that they're playing in with the Bucks and the Saints, they're probably not feeling too good about their odds winning it right now. So I look for this to be a game where, New England's excited to play. They're coming off their biggest win of the season by far, and they got to keep this thing rolling. If New England comes in and lays an egg this game, the media is just going to talk about, that's why you can't trust New England, blah, blah, blah. And New England's going to keep this thing rolling. I have them covering this 7-point spread too.
I think I mentioned this last episode, but I almost liked it better when the media was all doubting us and calling us fake and no, they're not playoff.
Like how no one picked us to beat the Browns and then we go out and beat them by 38.
Yeah, I think the NFL, the page on their predictions, I think 3 out of the 10 or 12 people picked us to win, and it was by 1 or 2 points, and then we won by 38. It was like, oh, what about now? And now this week they all picked us, so they switched just like that.
Scary, yeah. Now they're on the bandwagon, but
exactly.
The over under here is set at 47 points. Cole, what do you have?
I got the under. I think the Patriots might be able to score their fair share of points, but I trust this defense. Past few weeks they held the Browns team to 7 points, Panthers to 6, Chargers to 24. Obviously, that's not super low, but past couple weeks they've combined allowed 13 points. Obviously, the offenses, the Browns and the Panthers aren't that great, especially the Browns are missing Nick Chubb, but this Falcons offense is just as beat up as the other offenses. So, if they can hold Pitts in check, I don't see why they should score more than, I won't say the predictions yet, but I don't see why they should score very many points.
Yeah, I have the over by 1 point. I have 48 total points, so I'm going to hit the over here. It's close.
We got a good over under here after you say that.
Yeah, I think that New England can control the game by running the ball, and that's the one thing that scares me is they might get in and out, and like you had your hot take, rushing over 200 yards, it's going to eat up a lot of running clock, and they might get in and out fast. But New England's offense has been explosive, scoring. They're the only team to have 2+ margin of victories of over 38 points this year, obviously against the Jets and then against the Bengals. But they've been putting up close to 30 points against good defenses. They put up 29 against the Cowboys, put up 54 against the Jets, 27 against the Chargers, 24 against the Panthers, and then 45 last week. And so I think that they continue rolling on offense, continue putting the ball in, and cover this or get over here. And then, one more that Pat Scout just threw out, over or under 4 missed holding calls on
way over. That line is set way, way, way too low. I'd say at least 10 to 15. Jalen gets held on however many plays he's in. That's how many missed calls, because it's almost every play he's getting held like that. But
it is ridiculous.
Another stat that this is the first time in the Bill Belichick era that the Patriots have had 2 back-to-back 45-point plus home games in a row. So that's it's another stat showing how impressive these past couple wins have been for this team. Obviously against the Jets, that's the Jets, but it was a big win last week against the Browns. I'd say maybe their biggest win. I'd say maybe their best win since in the past 3 years, maybe. The Pats beat the Ravens last year. That was a good win, but this one, they blew out a team that people thought they might probably even lose to. So this was a really, really impressive win. And I was obviously extremely happy about it.
For sure. Well, score predictions right here. We both hit or I hit the over on that one. You hit the under. We both have them covering the spread. But Cole, what's your score prediction?
Oh, you went. I thought you went under on the. Oh, you okay? Over. Yeah.
No, over on the total points scored. Sorry,
Yeah. Okay,
over
okay.
here. And then we both covered the spread. Yep.
Okay. Yep. Yeah. 27-13. I just think if we're running the ball a lot, could be a lower scoring game. Go under, kind of like we talked about, and then, I mean, I think we're capable of scoring much more on this defense if we really wanted to, but I think it's kind of going to be a game, short rest. Don't want to do too much. Don't want to get too fancy. Just win the football game. 27-13, solid margin of victory, holding the Falcons to maybe a touchdown, a couple field goals, or like we had the first drive for the Browns. They came out. We've kind of started slow as a defense, so maybe they get an early touchdown, kick a couple field goals later in the game, and hold them to 13 points. But I think we should be able to score more than 27 if we wanted to. But I think it's kind of a play it safe, get the win, try to keep everybody healthy, and move on to your 10 days of rest and enjoy it.
Yep, I'm putting 34 up there because one of my hot takes is a strip sack touchdown. That's going to help out time of possession, help out, explosive offense. So that really only leaves us having to score 4 touchdowns.
And Gunner having a punt return for a touchdown. So, I mean,
that's that wasn't my hot take, but if that happens, then it's 40-14. So,
all right.
No, I think that, defense keeps rolling. And you mentioned it, anything over 17 points, I think you look it back and say, it's kind of a struggle, but I don't think that New England will be in a position where they're ever going to lose the game late in the game. It's obviously going to be close when it's 0-0 and when we score our first touchdown on the 4th play of scrimmage. But they're going to New England's going to control this game with their rushing attack and their dominant defense, and maybe a last second touchdown gets Atlanta to 14, but still going to beat them handily.
Yeah. All
right, player picks now. Here we go. What we do every week, we have the DraftKings, or sometimes I set the over-under lines on certain things. But we'll start off here. Mack Jones, over-under 251.5. This is a DraftKings line, so this is not mine. This is what DraftKings has Mack Jones set at.
I'm going to go under just because, like I talked about, I think the run game could have a decent presence. I think, like I said, if they wanted to and they wanted to throw the ball on this team, I think he could get over 250 yards. But just based off his, last 3 games, 198, 139, 217 yards. So last time he got over 250 yards was against New York when we had put up 54 points. And then before that was Tampa Bay week 4. So I, based off the rushing numbers and my hot take for rushing yards, I'm going to say he goes under on this one. But I don't think he struggles.
Yeah, I want to say over because I want Mack Jones to be explosive, but I agree with you. I'm going to go with the under here. I think that, he can throw for 230 yards and it can be dominating for him just because of how well our rushing attack, I think, is going to do. So I agree. I'm going to go with the under here at 251.5. Matt Ryan's line set 249.5. He has gotten this 3 out of the last 5 games he has: 342, 336, 146, 343, and 117. He's currently averaging 252.5 yards per game. So this is above his season average, and he has hit it in 3 of the last 5.
Under.
I agree. That's it. Under, right? We talked about the weapons. Kyle Pitts can go off for 100 yards, and that would be a good day for him. Great day would be 150, but I don't see New England allowing that to happen. He can go off for 100. I don't see where the other 149 are coming from. 150 are coming from. So, and especially if Cordell Patterson doesn't play, that's another receiving threat you're taking out of the game. So exactly. I agree. I'm going to go under here. And this is because he's struggling. This isn't like Mack Jones where the team's so dominant. This is because the Falcons suck.
Yep.
But all right, Mack Jones, over or under 1.5 touchdowns.
He's gone over 3 out of the past 4 games. I'm gonna go over. I'm gonna say, especially if Hunter Henry's gonna have 3 touchdowns, then he has to go over unless Jacoby Myers throws him a 3rd touchdown. So I'm gonna go over on this one.
I know. I hate being the same as you, but I'm going over too. I think that we're.
No, you don't. You love it. You love it.
Well, with you rigging it every day,
exactly.
where you exactly. Count up the score, might as well, because then I know if you got it right, I had to get it right. So
Well, no, that's not how it works. If you pick the same ones as me next week, I'm still going 6-0 and you're going 0-6. So it doesn't matter.
oh my gosh, it's yeah, that's true. But no, I'm gonna go over here too. Hunter Henry. I think anytime you get in close, he's got to be a lock there too. And I picked Jacoby Myers to have 2 touchdowns anyways, so that means he's throwing at least 3. So I'm going the over here.
Has Mack got a QB sneak for a touchdown yet?
I don't think he has. I don't think he has a
ton of
rushing
first
touchdown.
downs, but I don't think he does either.
Mm-hmm. Is that could be a hot take? Is that Pat's IG hot take?
Winnow 3 sacks. Wow.
3 coming
That
off
is
of
a
IR
hot
with
take.
vengeance.
Yeah, holy. No, but I've thought multiple times at the goal line, it's a perfect opportunity for Mack to QB sneak it, especially we see how many yards. He usually gets 2 to 3 yards on a QB sneak, even when they're expecting it, which is surprising. He seemed to be pretty solid at that so far. So I've thought in the goal line, we should do that a couple times, especially when we haven't been running the football as well. But at this point, if we get to the goal line, we're at the 1 yard line and we line up Shaq Mason, Trent Brown, and Mike Onwenu. There's nobody stopping that. So it doesn't really matter. We can, one of us can line up back there running back and we're getting through that offensive line with the hole they're gonna put up. So we'll be all right.
For sure. Next one here, Matt Ryan, same line, 1.5 touchdowns.
I'm gonna go under.
Okay.
I don't know. This is kind of a heavy under game for me. He's gotten more than that every game except 2 this year, but I don't know. Just maybe I'm overdoing it with the lack of weapons, but obviously Kyle Pitts in the red zone. The Patriots are obviously going to double team him or have some heavy attention put on him. I don't really trust the playmakers around him enough to really do anything too crazy. Maybe they get a late touchdown like we talked about or something like that, but I don't know. If Patterson's not playing, I just don't see really where they're getting their production from outside of Pitts. And if Patterson plays, I'd probably say over, but I guess projecting him to, if he does play, not be 100% healthy, I guess I'll go under on this one as well, even though I don't really love it. But
yeah, I'm going to switch it up here, and I'm not comfortable with it, but I'm going to go over just because I don't see them rushing for 2 touchdowns. And I don't even see for me, if I was a Falcons fan and we were in the red zone with that rushing attack they have, I just want them to throw it 3 straight times with Matt Ryan and say,
I'd probably say, I don't care if Pitts is triple teamed. We're throwing it to him. He's our best shot. We'll see what
use
he can
him
do.
as a decoy and try to, these guys are still NFL receivers. They're not top tier ones, but they still can, create some separation, hopefully, and get open. So I'm going to switch up. I'm going to go with the over here. But that's my 2 touchdowns there because my prediction's 34-14. So 2 passing touchdowns. That's it. But he's under 249. So there we go. I set this as a team stat, so I had the Damien Harris individual one, but I have New England right here. I want to know, we saw what they're averaging the last 3 games. Are they going to go over or under 148.5 rushing yards as a team?
They're going over 250. They're going over on this one. I think it's going to be a heavy rushing game. I think they should be able to have their success. Damien Harris back. Just saw what Ramondre did. Both these guys, if they split touches, I think they both can have success. I don't think they'll both have 100-yard games, but I think it's going to be I think either one, if depending on how they split the carries, I think one of them should have a 100-yard game and the other should have a pretty solid game as well. But I'd hope they both average 4.5 to 6 yards per carry, somewhere in that range.
Yeah, I'm going to go over 2. I think that this is a defense that, except for last week shutting down Zeke, the 2 weeks previous to that, we're giving up big time rushing stats. So I'm going to go with the over here too. I think that we continue to dominate that run game, and pass scout getting 249 of our 250.
And the 250, the 250th yard is Mack Jones QB sneak for the touchdown right there. There we go. Perfect.
Damien Harris gets held to negative yards like against Tampa Bay. Is that what I'm hearing?
Oh boy, that was rough. Who could have projected that?
Yeah,
that would have been a hot take right there. Damien Harris rushes for -4 yards.
Yeah,
hot take.
And then when you get it, you'd be really good. You would have to go to Vegas. So
yeah,
we've talked about this guy a lot, how New England shuts him down. Kyle Pitts right here, over 63.5 yards per game. He's averaging 67 yards per game right now, but over his last 3 games, he's had 13, 62, 60. So right around that mark, but he has not been over 63.5 in the last 2 games. The previous 2, 119, 163, against the Jets in Miami, who we put up 54 against. So Pick your poison here, but over or under 63.5 for Kyle Pitts.
I'm staying with the under. I don't love it, especially. I mean, obviously Miami's defense hasn't been as good as it's kind of seemed like it should be at certain points this year. And then they've also showed up at certain points, like against the Ravens. They completely shut them down. But then the Falcons put up 28 points and they let Pitts go off. So I don't like scheme wise where sometimes we're pretty similar to what Miami does just because Brian Flores came from our coaching tree. But I'm going to go under. I think, like we've talked about all episode, if he's the focal point, Belichick takes away your best weapon, and he is by far their best weapon. No question, hands down. Even with every receiver healthy, I think he's probably more dangerous than Calvin Ridley. So I think there's going to be a heavy amount of attention on him, especially with these guys out.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the over here. I think it's very dang close, 64, 65. I don't think he gets over 80 yards, but for some reason, when you have a guy that's this athletic, and I know Bill's going to be focused on him, but he's going to get his. Now,
he's going to make his fair share of plays.
And honestly, and it pains me to say this, but with how athletic he is, he could catch one pass, break a tackle because he's so big and, run for 50 yards. And then, so who knows? So I'm going to go over here to change it up too, but I just think it's hard to limit a guy like this that much for the whole game. Now, I know that it's going to be a focal point, but, Devontae Adams, guys like that get double teamed all game and they still go off. So this is a guy I see in Kyle Pitts that eventually is going to be, he already is probably a top 5 tight end in the league. Could be, talking Travis Kelce, Darren Waller type of guy here in a couple years once he gets more experience. But
yeah, you're telling me you don't trust me in one-on-one coverage with Kyle Pitts? You're telling me I can lock him down all game?
Oh, I do, but the Patriots haven't signed you yet.
I don't know why. I mean, Jonathan
Did
Jones
did that email you sent go through, or did it go to spam again? That's kind of ridiculous.
I think I typed in Patriot. I forgot the S at the end. I think that's why. But I mean, if I'm on Kyle Pitts for an entire game, there's no way he's catching one football. I mean, I'll probably have 3 picks if they target him 3 times. I have the utmost confidence that's how it turned out. Seeing how I'm 6'7" and run a 4.2, so we're kind of similar. So
yeah,
I think it's a good matchup for me.
Cole Kelly, 2025 NFL draft prospect. Just be looking for him. So
hey, watch out for my combine tape coming up soon.
He's working on it, but no, Pat's football. That's awesome that you're going. I hope you enjoy it.
That's gonna be fun.
It is going to be fun. That's an awesome stadium. I have been to the College Football Hall of Fame there, but it was.
There we go. That's my helmet right there. The team sent it to me. Just waiting to wear it. I haven't tried it on yet, but I'm going to try it on. They sent it to check for size before they sign me. They want to make sure the helmet fits and everything. So the pads are in the other room over here. I just haven't tried them on yet.
All right. Kendrick Bourne over under 34.5 yards. I thought this was pretty low with how Kendrick Bourne's been playing. His last 5 games, 75 yards against Dallas, 68 against the Jets, 38 against the Chargers, 34 against Carolina, and then 98 against Cleveland. So I thought this was pretty low, but he has not hit this. Well, he hasn't hit it in 1 game of his last 5. He's been close in 2. Maybe not though, but over under.
I'm going to go over on this one as well. One of my first overs actually tonight, but I'm going to go over. He played a great game. He's building chemistry with Mack. Mack's starting to trust his arm more and more every week. I mean, he made a great catch. He's been their leading receiver right now. He's been one of their most reliable receivers. So I've been extremely impressed with the production he's had so far for this team. I knew he was going to be a decent addition, but I didn't think he'd have this big of a role. And I hadn't really seen much of him in a Niners uniform. And he's making plays on a weekly basis. So I think it's been a great free agency signing. I think for the money we got him at, I think he's going to continue to grow and progress. And he said he wants to be a Patriot for life. So that's exciting. He's a great guy in the locker room. He's quickly becoming a fan favorite and certainly one of my favorite players to watch right now.
Yeah, I love watching Kendrick Bourne right now. I'm going to go with the over too. I think that he's been our most consistent receiver over the past 5 games, and pains me to say because I love Jacoby, but Kendrick Bourne you've seen what he can do in space. He caught that slant route he ran. He can take fly sweeps, reverses around the back, and he's a good runner in open space. So I'm going to go with the over here also. This one's a little different. This is Cordell Patterson. So assuming he plays, this might be, a wash, but I went over or under 80.5 total yards. This is right where he is at, for his average on total yards per game this year. But you have him over or under if he plays?
If he plays, I still have the under. I mean, I don't understand his ankle injury situation, but if he plays, I got to think it's as a decoy. I can't think that they're going to feed him enough to get him over 80 yards against this defense. Just, I don't know. I don't love it. And if he doesn't play, then he's under 80 yards. So I win anyway. So that's a win-win right there.
Well, with that logic, I'll go under 2. No, I agree. I think that Bill Belichick, if he plays, this is a guy too. Bill does a very good job at taking away dual threats. Now, Christian McCaffrey's a different type of dual threat, right? Like that guy's elite.
Patterson has been really, really good this year, though. He has
been very, very impressive. Now, he has slowed down his last couple games. Against Miami, he only had 1 receiving yard, 60 rushing yards. Against the Panthers, 37 receiving yards and 35 rushing yards. So that's about 70 yards. He did have 126 receiving yards against the Saints. So he has his games here and there, but I don't think that if he plays, that New England's defense is going to let him have one of those games.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Cole, do you have your against the spread thing pulled up? I already know you do. You've had that pulled up for an hour and 20 minutes now.
I had that pulled up before we started. Come on.
You have it bookmarked, don't you?
Gosh. No, not yet. I got to bookmark it, though. Patterson's had 7 touchdowns on the year as well, though. So in the red zone area, if he does play, that's another option with Pitts, especially if they're paying a lot of attention to him. But just wanted to mention that as well.
For sure. Well, here we go. Game picks now. We'll start with the 1 p.m. game. Obviously, the Thursday games, New England, Atlanta. So we already gave that one. But 1 p.m. Packers at Vikings. Packers 2-point favorite.
Close your against the spread right now before we make this pick. I'm going Packers. I have mine closed. It's definitely not up on the screen right now, but I'm going Packers on this one.
Oh, so you don't know that the Packers are 1-9 against the spread?
No, I had no idea. Well, I'm going to keep it with the Packers anyways, and I'm going to say that they cover the spread on this one against the Vikings. It's a pretty low spread. It's basically who wins the game. Packers have been playing pretty well. Vikings kind of find ways to lose games this year. It seems like they did just beat the Chargers, but the Chargers haven't really been the same team since maybe a week or two before the Patriots played them. So I'm gonna take Green Bay on this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Green Bay too. I think that their defense has been well improved, and we all know what Rodgers can do, and the Vikings have always struggled with Aaron Rodgers. So I'm gonna go with Green Bay here.
Yep.
Cowboys Chiefs. This will be a good one. I
hate this one.
I know Chiefs 2.5. What do you got?
I'm gonna go with the Cowboys, even though I hate it, and I don't know. I'm gonna go with the Cowboys. The Chiefs defense has struggled. The Cowboys offense is really, really good. I am a little concerned based off their performance a couple weeks ago, but last week they've been a really good team this year. But I know Sunday night when the Chiefs win this football game, I'm going to be so mad I bet against the Chiefs. I know that this is exactly how it's going to play out. I'm going to take this clip and I'm going to watch it back and I'm going to say I knew I should have picked the Chiefs, but I didn't. I'm still going with the Cowboys.
Well, if you want to switch, you can, because I'm going with the Cowboys too. I think that the Cowboys, who have been so great taking the ball away on defense, and the Chiefs, who have been, uncharacteristically careless with it, fumbles by Mahomes, interception by Mahomes. I think that Dallas's defense creates those turnovers, although Kansas City and Dallas might have the 2 most high-powered offenses in the league, putting up points quick. So it might be a fun shootout game. But I'm going to go with the Cowboys defense. That's better than the Chiefs defense, in my opinion. So Mahomes. Yeah. All right. Don't even get me started on Mahomes.
Don't get me started on the media with Mahomes. Oh
yeah.
I mean, nothing.
Wait, do you mean Jackson Mahomes? Yeah.
Oh boy. Wow. I am saving that clip.
We need to start clipping these things because I'm just embarrassing myself.
Wow. That was good right there.
Okay. Well, we're both the same through 2 games. Here we go. Cardinals, Seahawks, 2.5-point favorite for the Cardinals. Big NFC East or NFC West game right here.
I'm gonna go Cardinals. Kyler Murray's back. They just got smacked by the Panthers the other day. Good opportunity for them to continue their kind of success and try to make a playoff run, try to get a good seed. It's a tough division. It's a tough NFC, bunch of good teams at the top there. So I'm going to go with the Cardinals. Seahawks didn't look great against the Packers. I think they got shut out last week, so that's kind of concerning. But I'm gonna go with the Cardinals on this one.
I always pick against the Cardinals, and my dad gets mad at me. So I'm gonna go with the Cardinals here too. Kyler Murray coming back. Got to give these guys, some excitement, especially after that disappointing loss last week at home. So I'm gonna go with the Cardinals here too.
You saw my 6-0 record from last week, and you're just
Yeah, that means you're
hopping on
going
the
0
train.
that means you're going 0-6 this week.
Yeah, this is not good. This is
You
might be a
shouldn't
bad
be
week.
happy that I'm following you.
I should have had you go first so I could pick the
Yeah.
opposite.
Well, here, I'll go first on this one. Steelers, Chargers. Chargers 5.5-point favorite. I'm going to go with the Steelers here. I don't know if that's what you were going to go with, but I like the Steelers defense. Justin Herbert is still great, but he's been struggling as of late. TJ Watt's a menace to society on the outside with his pass rush ability. Najee Harris can take over a game for the Steelers. So I'm going to go with the Steelers covering this 5.5-point spread.
I want to say the Chargers because I've been kind of crapping on the Steelers being a fake team, but the Chargers have not looked the same past few weeks. Steelers defense, Steelers pass rush. TJ Watt's a menace. I mean, he's a beast. I'm gonna say Chargers win, but Steelers cover.
Okay. All right. So we both have the Steelers right there.
You think Steelers win?
I plead the fifth.
All right. All right.
I really don't know because the thing is Justin Herbert can come out and torch him. Justin Herbert's that capable, and who still knows the Big Ben situation and how good is he going to look when he comes back? That's the one thing. But
It's
I
Pittsburgh
don't.
3-6 against the spread.
Yeah. Well, they're
Chargers
about to be 4-6.
All right, we'll take it.
Monday Night Football, last one. Giants at Bucks 11. I'll start. I'm sick of taking these big spreads on Monday Night Football, even though I want to take the Bucks spread right here because I think that the Bucks are good. But the Giants almost beat the Chiefs, and they held it close on primetime football. So I'm going to go with the Giants covering. This is a lot of points here on Monday Night Football.
I got it. I mean, we can't have all the same picks. I mean, that just can't happen. I got to go with the Bucks. I'm going to go with the Bucks. If this was a 16-point spread, I'd still take it. Brady, after a loss like they just experienced last week against a Giants team that he does not enjoy the Giants very much for history reasons, obviously, that we don't need to mention. But I'm going to go with the Bucks covering, even though all primetime games have been closer than expected. I don't know. Brady in primetime against the Giants after last week is, I don't know. That's a scary.
He's gonna torch him.
I wouldn't.
He's probably going to have 400 yards and 5 touchdowns. But what's going to happen is it's going to be a 17-point game, and then the Giants are going to get a junk time touchdown, make it a 10-point game. Giants cover, Buccaneers win. That's what it's going to be.
I wouldn't be mad. I wouldn't be mad if that's what happened because we'd absolutely save this clip and we'd have to put it up on the story or post or something. We'd have to do it.
That's my pick. 10-point win for the Bucks, but that's covering for the Giants. So
all right, yep, we'll take it.
All right, well, that is wrapping most of it up. Patriots play the Falcons tomorrow night. It's weird. I'm doing this episode, and we'll be right back on live tomorrow night after the game shortly.
Gonna be a late one.
Yeah. So, and we'll try to make it. We won't make it like super quick where it's just like blah blah blah. But we'll probably just do the good, bad, and the injured, and maybe highlight a couple things. And it'll be late for Cole, late for me, late for most of you too. So we'll try to get on and get off within 30, 40 minutes, but still cover the stuff we need to do and recap a Patriots win.
We always say that it never ends up being that true. We always say 30, 40 minutes,
true.
And then I look up and it's already been 50 something. And I'm like,
That's
okay,
true.
well, we still got this, and this to talk about. So I guess we're not to the 30, 40 minute, but we will try to keep it a little shorter because it is going to be a late night.
When I see you start falling asleep, I'll just, cut it.
When my eyes start closing, just end it for me, or you can just take over. Just put yours as the solo shot. I'll just sleep on the side and just wake me up when it's done.
Yeah, it's gonna be like 11:30 for you. You're gonna be like head resting right there. So
that's gonna be when we start, probably.
Yeah, true. So
yeah, because the game probably won't get done till like 11, I'd say. So probably won't start till 11.
Yeah, true. Probably won't start till 11:15, 11:30 by the time we get our stuff ready. But all right, see you, Pat Scout IG. Thanks. Yep. Tune in. But Cole, you got anything else? That's it for me. I'm excited to watch them tomorrow.
Nope, I should do it. Tune back in tomorrow night, guys. Should be a fun game. Hopefully Patriots take it and have a nice 10-day break to keep getting healthy and go up against a tough Titans opponent who is the top seed in the AFC right now and might take the 1 seed overall for the year. They got the easiest schedule remaining in the NFL, and this is their hardest game is going to be against us next week. So it's going to be a tough challenge. After this week, there's going to be kind of two games in a row. Titans, Buffalo. It's going to be 2 games that are really going to be prove it, and it's going to be big weeks for this team. So taking care of business on this one, focusing on this game, getting things handled, and coming out with a W is going to be the biggest thing. Hopefully moving to 7-4 on the year. Hopefully we can come on here tomorrow night and say, hey, we can just do the good list because there's no bad, and that will hopefully make it a little shorter. So that's what I'm hoping for. But yeah, we will thank you guys for commenting and everything tonight. Come back tomorrow, subscribe if you haven't already, and drop some comments tomorrow, your thoughts on the game. But I'll update you what time we're doing that. Should be right after the game. So got anything else?
I was just going to say, I think this is real quick. I think this is something we looked past, is that we're going to have a 10-day break before the Titans game, giving Bill an extra 3 days. They'll get to watch the Titans game on Sunday and have an extra 3-day rest before they play probably one of their toughest, outside of Buffalo, toughest and most important games. So that's a big thing. That's a big thing that we might've looked past early in the schedule, but now that we're, in the thick of playoff contention and how good Tennessee's looking, it's something that is maybe playing into our favor.
Yeah, that's obviously having the extra days to prepare with Belichick. Obviously, we know his resume off a bye, and this is like a mini bye. It's not a full bye, but a couple extra days, people to get healthy, game planning, extra days to watch film. You can watch the game live, see things, and then go watch the tape on the Titans and stuff like that. So it's going to be just a small advantage for us, but we'll take anything we can get, especially against an opponent who's one of the best in the NFL right now. Titans are playing good football defensively and offensively. Their defense has been a lot better than I've expected, but we'll get into all that next week when we're previewing the Titans and doing that game Wednesday or Thursday, whenever we end up doing that. But should be a good one tomorrow night. Hopefully come up with a W, move to 7-4 and keep this train rolling. But until then, we'll see you guys tomorrow night.
Thanks for listening to this edition of the Patriots Drive podcast. Follow us on social media to stay up to date with all things New England Patriots. Make sure you tune in to the next episode and check out patriotsdrive.com for more great content.
We're on to Cincinnati.